At the end of the day, this is really a political question. It's not a policy issue, it's really a political question, which is really what the majority agenda is all about. It's about bringing us together to, to recognize that we have not only the solutions for our own issues, we have the solutions for all of our issues, and that these solutions converge in green jobs, in a healthy environment, in a sustainable climate, in a healthcare system that's serving people and not profits. So, at the end of the day, I think it's really important to remember that we have the power, and that, in the words of Frederick Douglass, power never yields without a demand, never has and never will. So whatever good feelings we may have about our friends who may have won elected office, it's really important to know that the record is clear where we are going. The record is clear who is paying the bill here, who's funding politics as we know it, and the record is clear that power does not yield without a demand. That's where the majority agenda and our working together counts, and I think is the way up and out of this box. I want to mention one other thing, and that is voter choice, and this gets to what Charlie Derber was talking about, that we don't see the majority agenda reflected in the political agenda. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Part of that is money. Another one is that if you enter into the political dialogue as a real challenger, as an independent party, not on the take, not on the corporate take, you have a very hard time ever talking about the issues, because the one thing that will be thrown at you across the political spectrum is that you are going to spoil the election and you're going to deliver the victory to your worst enemy, the so-called Nader effect. That's where voter choice comes into play. This is a problem we can solve. This also speaks to why it is that radical fascist movements can take over, because we have what's called a plurality voting system, which is that if you have one small group, the Nazis or the Serbs in Bosnia, for example, they have a similar problem. You can have one very strong minority group, but because they have a unified 25%, they can beat out the others if there are many candidates. We see this happen in our elections all the time. This could happen in our upcoming Senate election. If we have one conservative Democrat and 3 or 4 progressives, the conservative Democrat will win the Senate race because of the way votes get divided. We have a voting system which is irrational. It tends to deliver the opposite of where popular opinion is. If there are many candidates representing popular opinion, the one candidate who represents a unique point of view will win. That's what happens in the plurality voting system. There's another kind of voting system which is used in many countries around the world. It's used in the European Union, it's used in Australia, it's used in London. It's being adopted in many cities in the US as well, including Minneapolis and Burlington, Vermont, and San Francisco, and in Cambridge and others, where instead of just picking one candidate, you can actually rank. This is number 1. You'd like the underdog, because that person really speaks for you. You're number 2, and if that person loses, your vote is reassigned to your number 2. So it's called ranked choice voting. It's also called instant runoff. It ensures that you're never throwing away your vote by voting for an underdog who really represents you. And it ensures that elections will not be won because the vote got divided. So take the Nader-Gore-Bush thing. When Nader lost the election, if this system had been in place, the people who voted for the loser would have their votes reassigned to their second choice, which would have been Gore. Gore would have won, period. It ensures that races don't get won because of accidents. And when you go into the voting booth, you're not voting by throwing the dice. You're voting by exercising your values and your vision and your hopes for a future. So I've just mentioned this to you. I have petitions here tonight. We're trying to get it on the ballot. We have 6 weeks to get another 60,000 signatures to get it on the ballot. If we get it on the ballot, there's a good chance it could win. It would totally turn politics on its head in Massachusetts and set an example for the rest of the nation. So I just mentioned that if you're interested, I got petitions and I'll give you the scoop afterwards. But at the end of the day, fixing the fix that we're in is not rocket science. There are simple solutions here, and at the end of the day, this is all about us. It's about the courage and the vision that's in this room. It's about the struggle of our students to have a decent education, the struggle of our workers to have decent jobs and real opportunities, and a healthy environment, and a climate that will support us and generations for the future, and an economy that's about us and the people and not about the kingpins on Wall Street who've gotten their $18 trillion and are going back exactly to their business as usual. So it's in our hands. There's enormous power and vision in this room, and hopefully we'll all stay in touch and give them a show that they haven't seen and they're not expecting. This is our moment, so let's go for it, and with each other we'll make it happen. So thank you very much for being here.